Hello everyone, you've probably never seen me before, but my name's Nikita and I'm basically going to bring you a balanced Craftwars guide. And in this guide what we're going to go over is the summoner only. However, this is for pre-torment mode, so basically if you haven't killed Gilgamesh, this guide won't apply, but anything past that you don't have to kill, you just have to make sure Gilgamesh is killed. Okay, so let's go over accessories. For accessories, you're basically going to want, this includes back accessories as well, Synodic Protector. This gives you health and also summoner damage. Sigil of Evocation, which gives you summoner health and damage as well. Supersonic Traces, this is more of a personal thing, so basically what it does, after running for a long time you gain 60 walk speed. This is really good if you're a solo player, however if you're playing like in a team, you don't necessarily need it. It's more like a quality of life thing. Okay, we've got Glyph of Life. Here again, so if your summons aren't dying like too fast, you can run this. No, if they're dying too fast, sorry, you can run this, but if they're dying like really slow, you don't necessarily need it. So yeah, this is more of a thing you want for summoner only, like how I play. I only use summoner, but you don't need it. You can swap this for damage as well. One thing I would recommend is the Tome of Summoning. It's pretty good, it gives you 8% damage. And for our back accessory we have Relic of Avarice. This again, this is more like, I would say you do need this actually. This gives you speed, jump power, health. It also applies a 1.1 times damage effect onto people if they do not have, or if they have taken damage to you or give you damage. So it gives you a 1.1 times. Really good for summoner, as you're gonna have like 5 people on your side like attacking people. It's really strong. And then finally, this is where Gilgamesh's skill comes in. You get the Artifact of Creation. This gives you +2 summons. You can summon 3. So basically what this means is whenever you click, 3 summons will come out if you have a summon that doesn't have a limit. However, most of the summons I'll show in this build, if not all of them, this really doesn't apply, but the summon health and the summon damage is +15, so yeah, this is a really strong relic, or artifact, sorry. I recommend this. So that's our accessories. Now let's get into our damage dealing weapons companions. So we've got Equinox Ballista. So this is a really strong competitor for the best sentry in the game. However, I do think the Guardian Tower Staff can rival this. I can show you right now. Basically, it will do 1000, basically base 1000, but if you have the accessories, it will do 1380. And it slowly gains more fire rate and can get up to a fire rate of 0.2. So if you have 3 of these, as you can see, it's getting quicker and quicker. If you have 3 of these, you're going to be doing quite big damage. But let's just let it build up for a second. As you can see, it's getting faster and faster. But yeah, I believe this is a really strong competitor. Guardian's Tower Staff is also really good though, so if you don't have this, because you just have bad RNG from farming the orbs, like blinding light and pitch black orbs, you don't need this. Okay, let's reset so it despawns. Okay. For our second weapon, we have the Unknown Signal Emitter. Now, you get this from Zoog, so it's quite an early on thing. However, I do strongly recommend it, as if you look, you can see that he flies basically. And due to him flying, it makes him a lot harder to die than most of our other summons. So I would strongly recommend this. It can also be very handy in boss fights where, for example, like the lava is the floor, so you can't really step on the floor. He's a very good companion because of this, and he also gets buffed by your summoner stats. And he does not take up a weapon slot, so he's very strong. Let's despawn him really quick. Okay. For our second, our third weapon, we have the Equinox Seal. I would say you are going to have this if you're going into Torment mode, as it's already a very strong mode, and if you don't have this summon, even if you're not playing summoner only like me, you are going to struggle a lot more. So you can see by his damage when I spawn him. He is quite strong, yeah. If you see, he's already done over 100k, and he has 2 abilities, and one of them just insta-summons him, which is third one, which is Z. His X will deal a huge amount of damage, and I believe his C heals him fully, or his X heals him fully. One of them does a lot of damage and the other's healing, while the other is like instant summon. So yeah, he's pretty strong. And let's unequip him really quick, so I can show you the last one. Which is, well, not the last one, we've got 3 more, which is our Seraphim Ring. This is another really good one. However, I know a lot of people will be mad, since you do kind of have to farm Eldritch Tentacles and Seraphim Ring twice. Once to get the Equinox Seal summoned, and once to just keep them as their own companions. But as you can see, he's very strong. He also has abilities, one heals him, one insta-spawns him, and one of them deals big damage, which you can see. 132,000, which is huge. But yeah, he is very good. He also flies, but in some maps he flies super low, so the argument that he flies isn't too strong on this one, since he can still die to the floor, which is lava. But then again, when it comes to base enemies that are like our height, and they walk under him, as you can see, they're not gonna hit him unless they're projectile based. So let's unequip that. Our Eldritch Tentacles, this one I would argue is better than the Seraphim Ring, as he has just, it's very nice attacks that he has, if you look how much quicker it is. However, his damage is a bit lower, but you can see his damage isn't too high. But he can cling to enemies, so if you're looking for a more low damage dealing but good for kind of grouping enemies kind of weapon, this is really good. He is also good on bosses still to have. I don't believe his damage is actually picking up on this, so it's not actually as low as I thought. So sadly we can't see the damage on this. It's basically as strong as the Seraphim Ring summon. But yeah, that's super good. And finally, we have the Fishy Treat Companion. Now, this companion is really good. So the only reason he is good, in my opinion, it's not for damage. This is basically, he gives you a 50% damage reduction right here, and as long as he's alive, you're basically gonna have this permanently. Even his damage isn't bad. Yeah, you're going to have this permanently, which is super duper strong if you're playing Summoner, because you are mainly just dodging attacks. So, and also you're going to have lower health than most of the other classes, because the accessories don't give you health on Summoner. So just having 50% damage reduction is really strong. But yeah, you'll basically have this permanently, as you can see activated again. Super duper good. For armor, there are 2 candidates. I've soloed Gilgamesh with both of these armors that I'm about to show you. So if you don't have one, you can always make the other. One is arguably a lot easier. As you know, I'm going to be showing Equinox as well. So, sorry, the armor that I believe is a really good one for killing Gilgamesh solo if you don't have Equinox is the Lanite armor. Basically, also you are going to need the helmet, the Lanite helmet. As you can see, oh sorry, you cannot, yes, okay, so with this helmet, the set basically gives you 60% damage reduction, and the second that you get low, you will instant heal up to 50% of your max health, as far as I'm aware. And you are not going to be taking as much damage as if you have the Equinox set. It's a very strong set. I might even try to run that even more on Torment mode, because you just take so little damage. However, I still think Equinox set is better, due to the fact that you get a set bonus with the helmet of your choice. I'm pretty sure the Equinox mask is the summoner one. We can check really quick. Equinox. Yeah, as you can see, every 60 seconds, supercharged nearest summon, greatly increasing their damage. However, it does not affect sentries, which doesn't really matter. We just want it to be hitting the Equinox seal, the Eldritch Tentacles, and also the Ring Summon. So try to get Equinox if you can, since you're going into Torment mode. However, you can still do it with Lanite Armor. But what you will need, if you're doing it with Lanite Armor, you need the Symphonic Shell framing, as it gives you the immunity, so you won't be able to have all the accessories if you're going to kill Gilgamesh. Yeah, this gives you immunity to reality, so you can still survive fighting Gilgamesh with this armor. However, you are still going to want Equinox, even if it is that good, just because Equinox gives you that set bonus which amplifies your damage on your summons more. Now, there's not really much to talk about apart from all of that. The reason I made this guide is, if you look up Torment guides or even just Summoner guides, they normally show you once they're at the end of the game, as in like they've beat every single boss already, even in Torment mode, so you're not going to have that stuff. However, this guide is basically post Gilgamesh, pre-Torment mode. So once you've killed Gilgamesh, everything in this guide you can have to start your Torment runs. I guess there is some things I could recommend, like the Soulstone Pendant. Basically, when your summon dies, it will split into orbs and not only heal your summons, it will heal you. I think this is a really good complete set. But yeah, I believe this is the best build right now, pre-Torment mode, if you're doing only Summoner. And what I mean by only Summoner is you're not actively using your own weapon, like a sword or something. The only thing I could recommend if you are going to run a sword is, if you don't want to use the Equinox stuff, is the Abode of the Damned. The Abode. This is a very strong weapon. It gives you lifesteal, speed boost, decent damage. However, I would say going only Summoner if you're already investing into all the Summoner accessories is your best shot. So yeah, that's basically my guide. I genuinely only made this because nobody else is really making a guide anymore, due to the game being decently old and updates slowing. But it's still a great game and they're still updating still. So I recommend this to even people that haven't played the game. This game is a brilliant game. But also, yes, the Aura of Death. So this is also a really good back accessory. You're not going to need wings, by the way, that's where we swap them off. You just don't need them once you get this far. But the Aura of Death, it can entirely disable an enemy's damage reduction. However, once you're dealing enough damage, this really isn't going to feel as worth it as it should. Like, it's still a very strong weapon, or accessory, sorry, but the Relic of Avarice just giving you base health, and due to it being Torment mode and everything almost like one-shotting you, is a very, well, in my opinion, a much better back accessory to use. I don't really have anything much to say apart from all of this, so yeah, that's gonna be the end. Thank you for listening to this guide. I hope it helps you. If you have any recommendations as well, please do give me them in the comments below. But yeah, thank you for listening.